So essentially, what we've seen over the last 60 days is the Republican Party under Donald Trump has become the party of change, and the Democrat Party is the party of the status quo. Anytime Donald Trump tries to slash through the bureaucracy and make the government more efficient, the bureaucracy and the Democrats come in to try and stop him. And the Democrat supporters out there, street level supporters, are out there committing acts of terrorism against Tesla, trying to basically punish Elon Musk for daring to side with a Republican president. The latest example of this would be his slashing of the Department of Education to whatever degree is possible for the president to do unilaterally. It would require the House and the Senate to vote on a bill to completely eliminate it. So it's not completely eliminated just yet. It would take 7 Democrats to side with every single Republican in the Senate in order to pass that bill, which is not likely considering that the Democrats completely rely on the teachers' unions basically as a money laundering operation to support the Democrats. 99.9% of the money that goes from teachers' unions to politicians goes to the Democrat Party. It's actually pretty remarkable and astonishing to see the degree of the connection between the Democrat Party and the either higher education or even the lower levels of the education system, how deeply intertwined those two are. Kind of like the Democrat Party is completely intertwined with, the legacy media that you see, the ABCs, the CNNs, the MSNBCs. A personal example that I have of the connection between universities and the Democrat Party is I used to work at a university for several years. It was not one of the more liberal. It's actually a semi-conservative university. It wasn't like, you're going to see at Columbia or Berkeley, but nevertheless, it was extremely left-wing biased. The kinds of emails that the administration would send out were actually astonishing. They would completely cater to all the whims of the students, and the administrators would completely infatize the students, it felt like. A lot of these administrators within the university, these, directors of the different departments, they were a lot of times women that didn't have any children, or women that, their children had already grown up and moved on. And so it seemed like they were making the students their placeholder children. It was the perfect example of the devouring mother archetype that Freud used to talk about. These students were completely infantized by the administrators. And it's no wonder that my generation and the generations coming after mine, these students that are coming out of the colleges are completely unprepared for reality. They are completely overwhelmed with anxiety and riddled with mental illness and not adapted for the world. If anyone in my generation or the generations after me is emotionally well adjusted and has ambition and ready to do the hard work, they're just going to run circles around these people. And depending on where you live, these K through 12 schools might not be any better than the universities are. A lot of these administrators, they went and got a PhD or a master's degree in education. And where did they get that education? Where did they get that master's degree from? They got it at a university where they learned all this woke nonsense there. And a lot of the teachers that are coming to your schools, they see themselves as evangelists for this woke ideology, this woke religion. We've taken God and Christianity out of schools and replaced it with this woke dogma, which we have no record of what kind of society it's going to produce. We've seen throughout history in every example that Christian society is going to produce happier individuals and a better society to live in. We have no idea what this new woke ideology is going to do to us. And, we know when you just look at studies between Christians and conservatives versus atheists and liberals, the more happy people, the better stable homes are going to be with the Christian conservatives. One example of this is the school system around Chicago. There's about $30,000 they spend per student. There's about 30 different schools in that area. And for that kind of money, we should be seeing a lot of future doctors and engineers coming out of there. But that's not what we're seeing. There's 0% of the students at those schools are actually proficient in math, which is absolutely embarrassing that a giant, this is one of the biggest, greatest, at one point was one of the greatest cities in the world, and they're failing at basic education that bad. Education is the same as any other issue that you can think of. As bureaucracy increases, as the federal government has more control over it, it's going to have a decline in proficiency and a decline in efficiency and effectiveness. If you put this power back to the states and the local municipalities, you're going to see quality of education go up, which is what Trump is going for here. And Trump is trying to run the government like a business. And, what we've seen over the past several decades is if the government was a business, it would have gone out of business long ago. The only reason that the government is still functioning now is because they have the ability to print money and to tax you. And if you don't pay your taxes, you go to jail. Our federal government has been so mismanaged by our politicians that we as a people have elected time and time again and sent these incumbents back in to just create more and more problems for us and kick the can down the road for the next generation. And now Donald Trump is finally like, okay, we can't keep doing this. We've got to put a stop to it at some point, because if America flounders, the next country to step up is going to be China. And we are really, more than ever, we are the last hope for humanity, I feel like, as we've seen our allies who we thought shared these Western values, they continue to move more and more to socialism. And we see these countries like Germany and Britain, they will arrest people and throw their citizens in jail for making a offensive Facebook post about someone in a protected class in that society. We are really the last chance for us. And all this that I have been talking about for the last minute or so really reminds me of Reagan's Time for Choosing speech. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but if you haven't, go watch the full video. It's very profound, and he's such a great speaker. But I wanted to play you just a short tidbit of it that really, I feel like, re-emphasizes a lot of things I was just saying.
And the Cuban stopped and said, "How lucky you are. I had some place to escape to." And in that sentence, he told us the entire story. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
That is so profound. It's been a long time since we've had a president like that, and thank God we have got a good president now. Thank you guys for watching. The channel is Appeal to Reason. You can find it on YouTube and on Rumble. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends. Smash the like button, hit the notification bell, and thank you for your time and attention today.